Everybody's in attendance. And now we're going to pause to seek guidance. At this time, I'm going to read the mission statement. And the mission statement for the municipality of Digby is to provide, promote, or facilitate municipal services that meet the community needs while preserving, supporting, and enhancing quality of life for all. You've got the agenda before you. Are there any additions or deletions? David?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'd like to add a request from the FCDA.
Isn't it from the Freeport Village Commission?
Oh, sorry. FCDA, yeah, Freeport Village Commission. Sorry. We're working close together, so I'm trying to. We used to be with the FCDA, are now with the Freeport Village Commission. So
that would be 5.4.
Okay.
Is there anything else? If nothing else, can I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. We have no delegations or presentations tonight, so we'll go to approval of the minutes for January the 28th. Can I have a motion to approve?
I'll move the approval of the minutes of January 28th.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Unfinished business from the minutes of January 28th. The first is the court attendance jury duty policy. Had a chance to review that, and we discussed that at the last bylaw and policy meeting. Can I have a motion
There's
to?
no motion, it was just
Okay,
the
right.
bylaw and policy committee recommended there be no change to the policy as it is currently written.
Okay, so there's no motion.
But I think Linda,
I did still want to speak on it. I know I'm the lone objector in this, but I still do not agree with our policy that we take back their travel costs when they are going on jury duty. And I'm going to stay that way because, I mean, as we were told, they get $40 a day, and that covers their meals and everything. I'm sorry. If I'm on court duty, I feel that we should get it, or they should get it, whoever it is. But, you know.
Well, I didn't think this took away their travel.
Yes, it did.
No, it doesn't.
it's their honorarium.
It's the honorarium, which covers their meals.
Yeah, so you wouldn't be paid for meals, but you paid for travel.
They get paid for their salary and their travel.
Yeah.
So
Their salary's coming from us. The travel is coming from the court, but we're taking away the $40, which would cover their meals and that. I'm just saying, I disagree with it, and I just wanted on record that I'm fully against this. Thank you.
Okay, the next is the fireworks regulations. And there was a response back from Wanda Hamilton, from the Associate Director from the Nova Scotia Federation of Agriculture. And they're not aware of any regulations regarding fireworks and livestock specifically. She's asked the Policy Division of Nova Scotia Department of Agriculture as well. There could be something in a noise complaint relative to the right to farm legislation, or maybe something within the Animal Welfare Act, but it typically doesn't pertain to livestock animals. So,
That's the last I've heard. She has not gotten back to me, so I'm assuming that there is no other policy within the Department of Agriculture regarding fireworks.
so what's the council's wishes?
Again, I'm still concerned about the welfare of animals, livestock specifically, around fireworks, that they can cause severe damage to themselves.
we getting shot right at, or
No, the bangs can make them be so frightened that they can actually break through a fence. They can break their skulls.
under lightning?
You know, a lot of that, they actually have heart attacks on those. But we can't control thunder and lightning, so we can control fireworks.
What about if we were to submit the letter that came before our municipality and forward that to the Minister of Agriculture to see about,
That would make me very happy
I'll make a
because,
motion to that effect.
do I have a seconder?
I'll-
Second.
I was gonna say, that would make me very happy because they may be able to do something more broad than just in the municipality. I'm not saying I don't want fireworks, of course we want fireworks, but we have to be
Right,
sensitive to
right.
where fireworks are.
So it's been moved and seconded to send a letter off, send the letter that we received off to the Minister of Agriculture. Do I have all in favor of the motion? Opposed, approved. Thank you. The next is CAO reports. You've got your meeting dates and reminders. I believe March 18th, Deputy Warden, you said you weren't able to make that meeting?
No.
Okay. Is there anything else, any other meetings that nobody is able to attend?
On the 25th, I may be late. I will try not to be,
Okay,
but I'm coming back from Yarmouth that day as well.
okay.
And I might as well just keep going. On April 1st is our provincial volunteer ceremony happening in Halifax.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't know if I'll be back in time for a 5 o'clock bylaw and policy as well.
For the April 1st meeting, I haven't mentioned it yet, but we're having the manager of King's Bend come back. He wants to have a more in-depth conversation with council on the transit services, so I have set that for that date.
Is there any chance we could go later that day, started like at 6 o'clock? Jimmy, you're gonna be to the same thing I am.
Yeah.
And if it
I'm
doesn't
gonna
end at 3, you can't be back by 5.
go. Okay. How does council feel about having the bylaw and policy meeting start at 6?
Yeah, we should
Is
do it.
everybody okay with that? That's for April the 1st then.
It's just paper right here, David.
It's a regular bylaw policy night.
Yeah. You can't find it, Dave.
Oh.
That's where we go from there.
You're a mess. No, but it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, is there anything else on the calendar? If not, action items from previous meetings. Is there any questions? There are no questions? Letter of support for Upper Clements Park. I just wanted to mention that we sent the letter off to the Premier, and I did receive a phone call from the Premier's office in Middleton on Friday to say that thanking us, they received the letter, as well as one from Claire, and the Premier, it's on the Premier's desk for his decision on it. But it sounded like maybe possibly there could be something happening there.
Hopefully I'll know more this week. They canceled last week's meeting, but
Yeah.
we're supposed to have one this week. Great.
There's any questions on the capital projects update? If not, the financial report. Can I have a motion to approve the payables for January 2019 of $661,391.49?
I so move the approval of the January 29th payables in the amount of $661,391.49.
The seconder.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Income and payables expense report for January. Are there any questions? Can I have a motion to accept the income and payables expense report?
So moved.
The seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Strategic priorities items, update on the strategic priorities work plan. Are there any questions pertaining to the work plan?
I'm just wondering if the opportunity for renewable title, all title options that are going on around here should be maybe on this somewhere in a more obvious manner. Because it's sort of reared its head lately. There seems to be some action down there in it, some energy. I'm just wondering if there's somewhere within our strategic priorities work plan that would fit in, or is that something that's just going on the front?
Well, it's on here under advocacy and partnerships, and I know that a staff member is working on that currently, so.
I was just wondering if it needed something maybe a little more left column than right column, but right column. The partnerships. It's just, I don't know, I was just wondering if it could show, the opportunity or the excitement, or I don't know. It just is such a big, the council advocacy partnerships take up such a, I just wonder. Maybe this isn't the time to talk about it. I'll hit you up on bylaw and policy.
Well, specifically, it would be the strategic work plan it's a work plan. It's steps that staff and council are doing directly. So there's actual goals and achievable things. We're not directly involved in the industry itself, although like the Lord mentioned, we have a staff person who is working pretty much every day.
Yeah, I gotta see him and see what's been going on. I know a lot of things have happened in the last while.
That's why it's on here on this priority chart under advocacy. That's where it is right now.
And plus, I think it's in the operational activities of the climate change and renewable energy coordinator.
Right on. Thank you.
Councilor Ross.
Should the EV charging station in Bear River, isn't that completed?
Yes.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
probably have a line.
Should have a line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Want to cross it and stop the weed.
Yes.
Any contact with the housing people about another meeting, getting together?
We're actually having there's a phone meeting that's to be scheduled for tomorrow for them to start just some basic due diligence. Getting an idea of the property size and if there's any issues with it. And so that's actually, I was supposed to hear from them today about a time, but we do have a phone meeting set up for sometime tomorrow.
Anything else? Okay, we're going to move on to the standing committee items, bylaw and policy recommendations. Recommendation to approve the changes to the low income tax exemption for 2019-2020.
I move approval of the changes to the low income tax exemption 2019 to 2020 be it resolved by the municipality, there should be pursuant to section 69 of the Municipal Government Act, the municipal low income tax exemption policy, #2 2010, that the maximum rebate amount be scaled based on income as outlined in the table below. So I guess I'll read that out. Income from all sources less than $9,999. The maximum rebate value is $500. Between $10,000 and $14,999. That maximum rebate value is $400. Between $15,000 and $19,999. Maximum rebate value is $300. Between $20,000 and $25,999. The maximum rebate value is $250. And the maximum percentage for all those is 100% tax bill.
Read the last.
And that the exemption be granted only in respect to the property owned by the applicant and occupied for 183 days of the year as his or her principal residence. Property has no outstanding tax reserves. Every year is from previous.
I'll second it.
So just to clarify, it's when that maximum percentage, so if someone's tax bill is only $200.
They only get 200.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Any questions?
And this will also probably increase our budget. I think usually we budget around 42,000. I think we're going to be budgeting about 60,000. So it's a major increase.
Very happy.
Happy woman.
I feel that this is something that should have probably happened before, but I'm glad it's happening now. I think we're going to benefit more of our taxpayers. There is so many people in dire straits in our communities that this is a smart thing that our council is doing, and I applaud us all.
I also, for the 8 years I've been on council, every year we've added to programs to help those of our constituents who have trouble, paying their taxes or their housing taxes. And I couldn't think of a better way to spend money. We could all give everybody a $5 tax break throughout the municipality, be negligible for everyone, or we can actually do something significant for those amongst us who need it.
Yeah.
That's fortunate, for sure. And I view this as a start. You know, it's always a start, but there's more to be done.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. The next recommendation is to approve the recommended new minimum bid on the leftover tender properties. As they're stated up on the board there, there's 4 properties
You want me to
listed.
read those ones off?
I think the motion could be just to accept the new, minimum bids as presented.
So moved. Accepting the minimum bids as presented.
Do I have a seconder?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. The next is under business items, 5.1. We have funding request from the Digby Area Soccer Association, Society for the Friends of Fairles, and the Weymouth Waterfront Development Committee. Can I have a motion to refer this to our budget process?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. 5.2, marketing and promotion levy. Shared Services Committee met, and they would like, they recommended to take to both councils a recommendation that to further consider looking at a levy. But first, also, the first thing would be to do consultation with the business community that this would be affecting. So the recommendation, as listed, is that the council approve moving forward with the recommended next steps and work with the Digby Area Tourism Association with consultation with the tourism operators with respect to a possible development of a marketing and promotion levy for tourism.
I'll move that.
Seconder.
Second it.
Have any questions? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye, approved. Okay, the next is the County of Annapolis cost share request. This is, this got brought to me, and I had asked to have something in writing to come forward to council. As we all know, in Bear River for a long time, and we've spent quite a bit of money on studies in Bear River for water, but they feel that if they can put a comfort center over the bridge, they can put water to the comfort center, and then water from there can go off to the existing businesses that are currently downtown, and this would help alleviate their concerns and issues. Last year, when we were approached to cost share in the funding formula with Annapolis County, it was indicated to us that, you know, we did the study that the provincial government and federal government would pay for the infrastructure. And I don't know why, but that's changed, and now federal monies potentially could be 50% of the total cost. The province would be a third, and they're looking for, well, not a third, yeah, the province is a third, and they're looking for the other quarter. No, the province would be a quarter, and then the other commitment from municipalities would be a quarter. So Annapolis County is asking if we would contribute 1/4 of the total cost. That's if the federal government funds 50%, would be $42,956.50. I don't know if, I'm not expecting that we would have a decision tonight on this, but I would think that, I would like to ask if we could move this to our budgeting process and we can have further discussions on it.
I'd rather it go to our bylaw and policy. I think this is going to be something that we're going to
Okay.
talk.
So do you want to move
Separate
it?
from the budget discussion,
Yeah.
you mean?
Okay,
And then maybe we can move it to the budget after we
Yeah.
have some kind
Yeah,
of.
that makes sense.
okay, so,
I'm not,
I don't really understand what's going on.
no, do you have a motion to move it to bylaw and policy?
I so move that we remove this request to a bylaw and policy meeting
For further
for
discussion.
further discussion.
Do I have a seconder?
I'll second that.
So the motion's been made to move this to a bylaw and policy meeting for further discussion. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Approved, thank you. The next item under new business. 5.4 is the request from the Village of Freeport. The Village of Freeport is applying for a grant to repair structural and electrical problems with the Freeport Hall. Once repaired, the hall will be used for many programs that will appeal to different groups in our community. It says here, please review attached application questions and answers, which we don't have. It will also be made accessible to include those members of our community who are disabled. The total cost of repairs exceeds $70,000, and the grant program is for a maximum of $50,000. The village is requesting financial support from the municipality in the sum of $3,000, as well as a letter of support for this project. The deadline for the project is February the 28th, so it is a very time-sensitive issue. Thank you in advance for your consideration. Kindly, Catherine Field. So,
Yeah, I got that. I think the idea was that the grant process that they filled out for the province would answer most of our questions, is what I'm assuming was what was on that, the attachment that was sent with that. But if that wasn't printed out, and I've had a bit of trouble with my email today, so I haven't had a chance to see it myself. I would like to see if we could get a letter. And I'm wondering if I pop over tomorrow and fill out our community grant application. I know I could do it from the provincial grant application.
What are they
If I
building?
sent that through, would that be?
no, they need a decision right now, because they said the deadline's February the 28th. It's very late coming to us. Very late.
I'm gonna assume, because I never did, I was hoping to get the provincial application to be given to everybody to give a look through.
So I can
their
forward, I
applications
can
is-
forward that, but it's no, I don't think there's any, I think it's a lot of, text, there's no number, like it's, you
It's
know.
not
no,
budget numbers
No.
included in there?
No, not that I can see. It's just provide a brief description of your organization, so they've done that. Provide a full description of the proposed objectives, so they put the objectives in similar to what their letter is. Project successful benefits. But other than this, what they had indicated in the cover letter that the warden read, there's no.
They've been giving us budgets for numerous years, so I think it's safe to
This isn't
assume.
the Freeport Community Development, this is
This is
the
the village.
village of.
Oh, the village.
Freeport.
I thought they were the same. I thought they
They're working together.
Incorporated last
Sorry.
year, because when we give them that money for the computers and stuff, that was when they were becoming the same entity.
No,
they were-
this is the village commission. This
Okay.
is the commissioners and the government.
But how can we do anything without a budget I mean, of course, I can see a letter of support right now saying that we feel that they should receive a grant to help with this.
However, we have to review
You can't give them money.
until.
I mean,
What can we say along those lines?
Standard procedure.
That it's been referred to our budget process. We are, in favor of this project. It's been referred to our budget process.
Don't say that at all, you just support them.
To support.
Support it.
All right,
Are they-
I'll get something else for the budget process.
Well, they should send it out for the budget.
No, that's got to come from the village commission.
That has to come from.
They're making the application. So we could send a letter of support, and we could also state that if they have their funding approved that they've applied for, we can look at it during our budget process.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah,
Nice,
be
thank you.
careful.
Can I have that as a motion, please?
Yes, please. So moved, I guess.
I'll motion to, send a letter of support. If approved, it will, go to our budget process.
Second that sucker. Thank you.
For consideration, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Any more questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. The next is information correspondence. Nova Scotia Energy and Mines, re the COMPET. And then a piece of correspondence from the town of Westville. And that was their concerns about the proposed library funding increase.
Yes, I read that.
Any questions on the correspondence? Yes, I do. With the Nova Scotia Energy and Mines regarding the ComFit, and Councilor Manzer, you mentioned that to our MLA earlier tonight. I'd mentioned to him as well, and I'd like to have a letter come from council to the Minister of Energy to be able to go meet with him and discuss this further, because I don't feel that, I feel that we should be able to move the ComFit and, or come up with another way to make this still a viable entity. With, if it doesn't get moved to Gore, then we can possibly take it off the site it's on now and still use it somehow.
And then move it somewhere in our county. Another project. Did he
But-
say that?
I'd like to have the chance to go meet with the minister, and Gordon said that if council approved, that he would set the meeting up.
Would you like to, I guess,
Motion to approve, Warden to meet with the Minister of Energy
I'll second it.
Over the
over the conflict.
Right.
program.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well, now we'll just let the MLA know, and he can set the meeting up for us. General information items, the Nova Scotia Community College, and the REN CEO third quarter report. With the REN, in particular with that, do you know of any candidates that might be interested in serving on the board of directors? There's going to be some more vacancy coming up, and we'd like to get more representation from the Digby area on the board. So if you have any names, please forward them to Linda, and she can make sure that they get passed on to the appropriate people.
The other person is now working with the REN out of Digby. Where is their office at?
Out of the town hall.
Town hall.
So we do have two members of the REN body working out of here, so that's good.
I knew there was
Yeah,
one, I knew there was another one in Digby area, but I didn't know where.
Yeah. Advisory committees, minutes, reports, there's nothing listed here. Other council committees, there's nothing listed. Joint intermunicipal committees, minutes and reports. You've got and had the minutes presented to you for the Digby Area Recreation Commission, the January 2019 minutes, February.
It's all right, when you finish that, I'm gonna talk on dark.
Okay. Well, you got the February Recreation Director, Facility Manager, and Active Living report, so Deputy Warden.
Okay, last week, after our meeting, the deadlines were in for all the volunteers and nominating of the volunteer for the 2019 Digby Area Volunteer Awards. From that, and that is now all in and all done, we will be sending two people, and one is Ronald Van Tassel for the town of Digby for their provincial volunteer, and Roger Outhouse for the municipality of Digby as our provincial volunteer.
Excellent.
The date, and please mark this in, the Digby area recognition ceremony has changed. And it's going to be at the Digby Regional High School Theater, is April 10th at 6 p.m.
Is the high school, you said?
Okay. So I wanted to let you know this, and there was 4 on the committee, and we had good discussion. And sometimes it's really hard when you're looking at these.
How many applications did you have submitted this year?
We had over 20 applications.
Good.
Or nominations, I should say.
Yeah.
Nominations or applications. But, yeah, so more from the municipality than the town.
Okay.
But then, yeah, there's.
Any questions pertaining to Dark? The next is,
I was gonna say, our recreation person, what's Cindy's new title? Anyway, Cindy will be on vacation for a week coming up, so there'll only be Bob or Kara in the office. Cindy is taking family vacation. Just to let you know that, sorry about that.
King's Transit Authority Rider's Guide, you had a chance to look at that. It's nice to see with the app there now, so you can find out where the bus is.
Yeah, it's very good, it really is.
I was thinking the other day, it was on the radio, and they were talking about in Halifax how people were complaining about the stock transit not being able to pick up their children on time or not knowing where the buses were. I don't understand why they don't incorporate this in the buses for school buses as well.
Does it cost money?
I know it does, but
But those are private entities.
I know, but even our own buses for picking up our children, I mean, it would save our children sitting out on the side of the road for a half an hour if the bus is going to be delayed. It would be nice to know where it is.
Oh, yeah, but it costs money.
So, anyway,
I will tell you, our meeting is coming up, and we will be talking a lot more about the ridership and the different things that we're looking at. And the other thing that I have been doing, and I've only been sending it out to Linda, the warden, and George, is when the bus is canceled for the day, and our deputy CAO as well. But I've only been, because to me, that's who is involved, and I just want to double check, was that okay with everyone?
I get your email.
I'm accepting it.
Well, I
It's usually
tried,
posted on it's on the radio and.
yeah, but I want to give you a heads up too.
Yeah, we have it, yeah.
That we have it, because what I have found, what I don't own, which is an awful thing to say, is a radio.
You don't own a radio?
I don't have a radio. And like this morning, I had to call the school teacher. This is school, and I waited till 7 o'clock, so I get up at 6, and I thought, no, I don't dare call someone at 6. So at 7 I called, no, school's canceled. It was on the radio. I don't have a radio. I could go out in the car, I guess, instead, but.
I'll have to pick you one up at the yard sale.
This is a free app, is it? For
Yeah.
King's
Yeah,
Transit?
yes, it is.
Download it free.
I got it, I'll see where it is.
Okay, we're going to move on now to the outside boards, committees, minutes, and reports. Digby Area Tourism, you've got the minutes for January of 2019. Any questions on that? And you got the Digby Harbor Port Authority, November 2018 minutes and February 2019 managers report. Any questions on that?
Trucking.
Okay, we're going to move on to the councillor district activity reports, and we're going to start with Councillor Ross.
Busy. I went to the church breakfast a couple of weeks ago, been answering a lot of phone calls, emails, talking to the local fire departments, and checking things out, voting about the community.
Okay, Deputy Warden Gregory.
I went to a benefit for Bruce Longmire. I also attended Flag Day in Freeport. I went to the State of the Province, where the Premier spoke. I attended the NSFM's insurance renewals, which is, I always think funny because you have the AMA's rep and the FM, and I happen to be from the same municipality. I also wanted to say at the State of the Union, the State of the Province. It was the same day.
Same time.
There was a vote done in Halifax about the, for the attendees, of whether they feel there should be the French culture represented separately. So do you want more or less? And Halifax said no, they did not want any more. He was also saying, a question I asked was about cannabis and where the municipalities going to see any money. And he said the province had to see monies first, that they are not making any money off of the sale of cannabis because of the infrastructure costs. I also asked about, at that time about our extension on the 101, and I was, again, assured that they had to look at the feds having money for that.
Yep.
And I had a third question. I did three. Cannabis, the road. Oh, and I did mention about doctor shortages. And he assured me that the province is trying to do all they can to have incentive programs for the docs. Again, it was very, and he did answer, he stayed in a really good mood, and he answered questions probably for 40 minutes. So yeah, that was personally really interesting. And I went to the African Heritage Gala along with the warden. And it was an excellent time. They're hoping next year to have it in their new building.
Well, we'll all have to go for that one.
That will be nice. And what else I wanted to say? Oh, and at the Fire Association meeting, I did want to mention they're getting back to me. We sent them out an email, and then I brought it up at the meeting. And they're still thinking of what would be best every 1 year, 2 years, every 3. I told them we really felt it should be one entity to do it in one place. And they thought that was a good idea. But it takes them a while to come back. But I've asked also the minute taker to send me the minutes as soon as she can, so I can send the Pat and Linda.
Okay.
So just to let you know that. Also, I've had calls about our beautiful roads. There are people, the plows are so-so. And, I will say I called one day and they came out and fixed it. Because of the amount of ice that was on the side of the road, it was an accident waiting to happen. I've called them for other things, and it's been a week and a half, and they still haven't got to it.
Mhm.
So, just to let you know that.
Anything else?
No, that's it for me today.
Thank you. Councilor Manzer.
Well, in the last part of January, early February, I had some road concern calls, a few of those, so we dealt with that. I also met with the Co-op Housing Group during the month, and the Weymouth Waterfront Development. They had a couple of meetings during last month, which I attended, and they're trying to get some kick-started in the Weymouth area as far as what people want to see, what they want. They got a little bit of money to invest, and along with some government programs and grants and stuff. So they're hopefully getting started to get something moving. And I missed the African Heritage thing because it's very cold. Looking forward to that.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Tudor.
We're working on expanding the island food bank, so it's less an emergency thing and something that every 2 weeks, just like the Digby one is. So except you'd be delivered to. I'm talking with a lady who works out of Digby, and we're working to, as long as I have a place that the food can be dropped off in Digby, I have a few people that can bring it down. So we're working on that. There's also, with that same person, working on, there's a lot of older folks who are quite isolated. The view is the further you get from Westport, the more poverty and suffering and isolation there is as you go up, because Westport's all in one tiny clump. You know, people can really keep an eye on each other, they know what's up. As you go further up, it tends to get more dispersed and people become more isolated. There's more mental health issues, there's more loneliness. And so me and Nadine are working on a plan, and we're going to alternate between Freeport, Tiverton, and Westport, and we've got some locations for it. It's looking really good. I just need to get permission from the church in Freeport, and they're on the 7th meeting, and I want to really move into the food bank. They have an Eleanor, I can't remember her last name, Eleanor Outhouse or more, I can't remember that, room, and it looks like I'm going to get the whole thing and be able to do stuff with it. So it's really good, and also the church was really nice. They said nice things like having this sort of stuff go on. The church is the reason to keep the church going, because they're getting pretty small, some of these churches, and that's what it's for the community. Tourism stuff, still harassing people over the levy, and they in turn harassing me over the Airbnb. So we've got a relationship, at least in some degree. Flag Day was super awesome. Rob, my big hero, he came up and he was there with a little Seth, showing how Seth, slowly raising the flag very officially, like he was shown. And all the kids with their flag. Oh, it was great. It was just, he did such an over-the-top good job. I couldn't believe it. Linda gave an excellent speech that gave me great joy to hear. It ended wonderfully talking about the islands being like heaven. A little rough at the beginning though there, but
He's referring to, in my thing, I told a little story. When I was little, and my brother was going to marry Ellie, Junior's sister, he took me down there, and he took me down to the East Ferry Wharf. And he said, this is the end of the world. So I said, well, what's that over there? And he said, that's heaven. But I didn't add the rest of my story. And I said, well, how do I get there? And he said, you swim. And I said, what if I don't make it? You don't go to heaven.
that would have been a good way to end it.
I didn't tell him that piece. I thought that was sort of, yeah, so I went home and told my mother I saw heaven. I just couldn't get to it.
They're a rough crowd down there on the islands, let me tell you. I know.
We did talk about the flag.
Yes, we did talk about the flag. It was actually the gentleman that Rob found gave one of a fantastic speech. Everybody was very, very happy about it. We had one mental health drive. I had a funny one. I always have a funny one. Somebody complained there's a youngster driving his vehicle around, quite highly illegal vehicle, I would think. However, the complaint was, could he please tape up his muffler? That wasn't call the police. It wasn't go down there and take the keys from him. It was tape up your muffler. He did. So I went to see him. He taped up the muffler, which I thought was quite amusing. Back on the Green Foundation grants, I met the lady that gave those grants out, and she said that hardly anyone did it. And I went around and asked like 10 people, and all 10 people said they'd done it. And so I'm passing some more out. I found a few more. So I don't know what she was. Maybe they hadn't gotten down to the islands yet. She said it was very poor pickup, and I'd done all that work, but it turned out everybody I talked to did get stuff. So I'll do sure. And housing issue. Somebody getting their house needs to get their house fixed up. It's been a couple of years. We've been on the list. Like, come on, guys, what's going on? I'm calling you up. I'm calling them up. Push it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Hoarding situation in the basic services stuff, but we got the water running again. It was a little bit rough. It was a little bit touchy. Also, I got a call from a social worker giving me a list of materials that somebody needed who didn't have any money. But however, the local fire departments have like large selections of things to help you get in and out of the bathtub. Like when an islander dies, whatever you had, you give to the fire department. And now, if people don't have money or good insurance can now do it. So I got a list, and very, very helpful. I went to, I thought I knew all the social workers, and I got this message. Social worker calling, get a hold of me, and I called, and I went to all the social workers in town, and I finally found this one new social worker I didn't know about. So, it took me like a week to find you guys.
People in town.
No, I know 3 people. Hey, it's not going to spend hours and hours in town.
All right. Thank you. For myself, I was gone for about half the month on vacation, but it was really nice to attend the African Heritage Month Gala dinner on Saturday night. It was pretty much a full attendance in the room, and I did talk to Kerry Johnson about hopefully this is going to be in the new building next year. So he was trying to be reluctant to say that it would, but I said, why can't you build that in a year? There's no reason why you can't. So I put the onus back onto him to see that they get it done. But Also, the first part of February, I had an opportunity to meet with Chief Carol Potter on Bear River First Nations, and I've talked to her again today, and I'm calling her tomorrow to set up a meeting to talk about some ways maybe we can partner together.
Wow, that's super.
And during the month, well, first part of the month, and then last week, I've been really heavily involved with the library board funding review, and as the president of LBAN, so I attended council sessions in Yarmouth, in Bridgewater, and in Wolfville, and also attended a session with the AMA and with the NSFM, with the provincial government people, to try to answer any questions they had towards the funding proposal. Excuse me. So now there's a meeting on Friday with the City of Halifax, HRM. Next is we're going to go in camera. Before we do you have any questions pertaining to anything we discussed tonight?
No, I'm just here because I want to learn more about local government.
Okay.
This is not hugely helpful because it's just, you're discussing amongst yourself things you know.
Yeah.
So a person such as me who comes in and wants to know how we govern ourselves and who does what, and how do I learn? But that's not, I'll speak with someone privately. If I didn't have anything specific, I just want to come every month and.
Well, we're glad you're here because
Yes.
we hardly ever get anybody here.
Yeah.
We used to have a reporter that used to come, but I don't even think we have a reporter in Digby anymore.
There's
So
not a whole, if this is a normal meeting, there's not a whole lot one can learn from this meeting.
That's how I felt when I first got elected. I was like, what is going on? It's when we first elected, we were like that.
So if you could maybe come in or set up a time to come and meet with Linda, our CAO, she could give you more of an update on, or more of the details on some of the stuff we've discussed tonight, and or answer any questions you have towards the municipal government.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and we have a newsletter we send out every 2 months. Have you received the coastline?
Yeah.
Okay. We try to put stuff in there too to keep people informed on what's taking place. So.
Also, with how the system works, a lot of this stuff is discussed beforehand at policy meetings and
Yes,
the whole. So by the time it gets to the council meeting, a lot of the meat's already been chewed over.
Of course,
Yeah.
and that's apparent.
Yeah. Well, we'll try to do a better job on talking about the issues before we pass the motion on it.
Especially now that we got an audience
Unless
member.
there's, something that one can read or just.
More
That's what we
information.
gave me when I first got elected.
Our minutes are always available, and,
Yeah.
If
like
you do,
before the meeting.
Do I have YouTube?
we have a channel too that you can go in and watch our committee of the whole. You're welcome to come to committee of the whole and council.
I don't even know what the committee of the whole is, that's how you.
At 5 p.m.
Just
on-
like this, we talk a little more and make less decisions.
Okay, we'll take a 5-minute recess and then we're going to go in camera.